Hey guys, today is May 16th and today we're going to be doing a reading vlog. So we're doing a reading vlog today. I have several books on my list of books that I'm wanting to read. I actually have 5 books on my list rather than my traditional 4 books. Typically whenever I do reading vlog, when I'm reading books, I like to have 4 books that I'm reading just because my mood changes every day of like what I want to read. And also I can't as much as I would like to be one of those people that can sit down and read the same book for an entire day, I just can't do that. My mind, not my stimulation, but I need to change it up. Maybe that's because of my alters, because everyone wants to read different books, so I don't know. But the 4 different types of genres of books that I read. One is a middle grade, one is a young adult novel, one is a nonfiction book about, well, maybe not nonfiction. Well, yeah, it's all nonfiction. Nonfiction Catholic books, and the other one is my complex PTSD book, which is my mental health book. But today and the next couple weeks until I get my Catholic books done, I actually have 2 Catholic books I'm reading. I don't know where to start, but let's just start with the books that I'm currently reading. The first Catholic book I'm reading is Breathe Deeply. This is a Joyful Mysteries of the Rosary and an Invitation to Peace. This book is by Alison Ramirez. I watch her videos on YouTube. I know she writes a bunch of different Catholic books. She's a Christian author, Catholic author. And she's basically she has this invitational series, Rosary Invitations, book series that has breaking down each of the mysteries of the Rosary. And since I'm really trying to devote more of my life to my Christian Catholic faith, I figured it would be important to do a little more dissecting into each of the mysteries, kind of get acquainted with it. And I think the reason I start with Joyful is basically because it's us saying yes to God. That's pretty much how, if I were to do a rough summary of how the Joyful Mysteries is, it's saying yes to God. Because of the Annunciation, which is basically Mary's saying yes to having Jesus. But yeah, this is also a new book that I recently bought. I think I got this in on... Well, I ordered it at the beginning of the month, so I just got it in. Yeah, so this is one of the new books I am reading. I also bought in the other book, but I'm just going to talk about the books I'm reading. So this is the first one. I did read a little bit of it, a couple days ago, but I can't remember what I read. Mostly because A, I didn't journal about it, but B, because I was going through some stuff. Not necessarily anything bad, it was just we were doing a lot of... I don't know exactly. I took a day off, then we had to go to Menards, and I went to my sister's, and it was just I didn't have time. But yeah, so this is book 1 I'm wanting to read. The second book I'm wanting to read, or in my reading roundup, is A Light in the Shadows. This is by Anna's... I'm not even going to try. There's the name of it, her. This is a true story. She is somebody who... this book is no longer available. I got it at my local mission. Yeah, I'm currently on chapter 4, but I'm going to reread this just to journal a little bit about it. I don't suspect I'm going to do too much journaling about it, just because it is a nonfiction, nonfiction book about someone's life. So I highly doubt I'm going to do a lot of journaling about it, but I could be wrong. Then my middle grade book I'm reading is The Princess Swapped. It has got Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. So basically, their story swap. I don't really know much about this story other than the fact the princess stories are swapped. Yeah, this is the book I'm reading for my middle grade. I also really like this book, this edition, because it's got the color gradient, the sprayed edges, and the cover's just beautiful. Yeah. This book is by Kim Busing, or Busing, I don't know how to say it. But this is part of a series. If I like this book, I'll pick up more copies. It just depends. I don't know. The next book I'm reading is Dreaming About the Boy Next Door. I've read this for 3 different reading vlogs, I think. Or I've done 3 different reading sessions, or maybe 5 reading sessions. I don't know. But I'm currently on chapter 12. I'm really enjoying this book. I picked up this book for kind of research on when I'm doing contemporary reads and romance reads. I mean, not reads, writing. I don't have any plans to write any romance books right now. I'm mostly focusing on romance writings. I'm mostly focusing on JJ's story, but I do have ideas for, like, possible romance stories that are in that world. So that would be exciting to get into. And then the final book I'm wanting to read is The Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving book by Pete Walker. My goodness, this book is intense, and I've been slacking on it, but I need to get back into reading it because I do want to get better in my mental health. Yeah, this is the read. These are the 5 books that I'm wanting to read. Am I going to get through all of them today? Probably not, just because that's 5 books. The mental health book is really intense, but you know, I'm gonna shoot to at least read 4 books. I don't really know what the game plan is reading wise, like what book I'm gonna start with, but I do have my little checklist of all the books I'm wanting to read. Basically, I'm wanting to do 30 minutes of reading for each of the books, except for the Complex PTSD book, because whenever I do the Complex PTSD book, I listen to it as an audiobook, but the person reading it does it on YouTube, and sometimes that lasts 30 minutes, sometimes there's 2 parts. I don't know, but I also don't know which chapter I'm feeling called to, so that's kind of all in the working progress. I need to take a little break, but before we get into reading, I'm going to talk about some books that I recently got, so I'll be right back, okay? Okay guys, so now we're going to be talking about the books that I recently got. This isn't really part of books I'm going to be reading today, I just figured I would let you guys know. So the first one is a fiction book, Mirror of Shadows by Sarah Cannon. I watched/listened to her videos where she was reading this book aloud. That happened last year, I believe, around what she calls Spooktacular, so that was around October time frame. And I think it lasted into November. I really enjoyed what I was listening to while she was reading. And I was like, this sounds kind of up my alley. I do like when it comes to my young adult books, I kind of range from a lot of different genres and categories. Typically, though, it does revolve kind of around the romance series, like a romance genre. But I knew whenever I was listening to it, I wanted to pick it up and read it, and it is part of a series, and, I do particularly like listening to, reading authors' books that are more recent. I did back in, 2019, probably 2022, I did pick up Beautiful Demons in Sarah Cannon's world, of the Shadow. I don't remember what the series title is. But I did enjoy the book. It did take me a while to read just because I was going through some stuff. But I liked her writing style, and I was like, I don't know necessarily if I want to continue with that series, because I am weird about series. But I was like, this is her new book, and I would like to, and it's part of a series, and it's kind of in that fantasy world, and I'm like, I would like to read it. Yeah, and I do know, if I really wanted to, I could just listen to all the videos on her Sarah Cannon channel, and just be like, okay, I've read the book, that's good enough for me. But I'm like, no, I like having physical copies of the book in my hand to physically read. And I do know she did a lot of changing to this, and when I was listening to the videos, I stopped at, episode 6, and I believe there were, 13 episodes to it. She wrote it in episodical episodical readings, and I will say I only listened episode 6, and I was like, I need this book. And like I said, she's done some changes to it, so I'm like, it'll be like reading a whole new book, but yet have the similar setup kind of thing. So that's something I'm wanting to read. I'll probably read this one after not Beautiful Demons, after Dreaming About the Boy Next Door. And I don't really have many young adult, actually I do have a couple of young adult reads that I need to read, but this one is kind of top priority. Next, these are 2 books that I got from the Mission. I love going to the Mission and picking up different Catholic books, because like I said, I don't think I've said it in this video, but I'm somebody who's wanting to possibly become a religious sister, or realistically just gaining my religious sense, regaining who I am as a religious person. I say regaining because I did take a couple years off of going to mass and stuff, just because this sounds weird to say, but I did get bullied with my class when I was going to, I got bullied a lot in school. But also I just was never really sure of myself, and that's kind of why I have some sort of dissociative disorder, because I just got bullied a lot, and whenever it came to people attacking me, I would just dissociate and shut down. But I went to religion class my entire middle, schooling time, so from kindergarten to senior year. I served in mass all the time, but yet, I even journaled about it one time. I was like, going to mass and serving in mass, because I was typically the only server there on Saturday nights, it became more of a dance, a theater act of things I was doing, because I was like, oh, this is, I was leading each second of the mass, I was thinking about what I needed to do next, kind of thing. Not healthy at all. But I was that's kind of why I stopped going to mass for a while, but I'm as I've been journaling, I'm I realize how much, the Catholic faith is something so important to me. It is, part of who I am, and it makes sense because, in my personal headspace, headspace is just a term for, where all my, it's just part of, my altars and where they kind of live, but in my headspace, there's lots of religious pictures. There's also, the main room where everyone meets can turn into a chapel. So it's, I don't know how to describe this, but, it's all just, my life is centered around my Catholic faith. And that's kind of why I'm leaning towards becoming a sister. But I do realize, with my mental health, I do struggle with the sense of, I don't want to say, falling, being, I don't know. I go through depressional spaces, and then I kind of fall off the not bandwagon, but, I fall off of my calling, and I'm just I can't do that if I was a religious sister. Sorry, whole tangent. But the 2 books that I got from the Mission were 33 Days to Eucharistic Glory, and the other one is 33 Days to Morning Glory. These are books that I'm going to be kind of using, I don't know how to describe it, but kind of using them as, stepping stones to getting back into my faith, getting back into reading the Bible, getting back into doing my prayer time, getting back into my rosary time, more devoted time to my religion, to prayer time and stuff like that. And that's also why I'm reading A Light in the Shadow and Breathe Deeply, the Getting Closer with the Rosary. These are just kind of, I don't want to say homework, but, kind of getting, that sense, each day is a day, a day moving into this book, getting closer to God, and stuff like that. I'm wanting to read these 2 probably after the 27th of June, and the reason that day is specifically is because in May 25th, I'm going to be starting the Total Consecration to the Immaculate. This is, something that Saint Maximilian Kolbe taught, pretty much, I don't think was he the one that started it? I don't know. But there are 33 days of really falling, like, I don't know how to word it, but it's just gaining our relationship with Mary. Mary is someone who's very, very important to me. Mary as in the Blessed Virgin Mary. But she's someone I'm very close to. She actually was my confirmation name. And whenever it came to her, like, I picked her off of, like, not selfish, but, like, very, I guess, was it prideful? Maybe, I don't know. I kind of chose her off of a whim. But then as I've been growing in my faith, I do know, like, that wasn't just a whim. It was a calling. Yeah, so it was all really cool. But yeah, those are the books that I kind of picked up. I don't know what else to say. I picked them up. I am now going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to kind of lay out how I want today to go. I believe it's kind of like around 9 o'clock right now. So I'm going to kind of lay out how I want to read these books. Typically, each book I'm wanting to read for about 30 minutes. Kind of see how that goes. And so I'll be right back after I do a little, like, thinking, pretty much. But yeah, I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye. Okay, guys, so I got my schedule of how I want to do my readings sessions today. So I'm definitely wanting to do 4 different reading sessions, okay? So the first one I'm going to do right away. It's currently like 9:15. I'm going to first start off with Light in the Shadow, read 30 minutes of this, at least get to chapter 4. That's currently where I've previously read. I am also going to be kind of doing a journaling session. It's not really a journaling session. It's more like taking notes of, like, okay, this is a key factor, maybe relating it to my personal life. And I'm doing this in my book, my red book, my religious book. I have these really cheap notebooks that I got from Dollar General. And I'm just being like, hey, this is the book I'm reading, notes for that reading session and stuff. I was only able to fit 5 books into this reading session, but honestly, this is probably might be too small. Like, I've only got 3 pages to journal or write, like, pinpoint facts on it, so we'll see if this works. But I will say A Light in the Shadow is a fairly small book. But I also, when I actually do the genuine journaling, I have a Google Doc set up for the book, so I'm definitely able to more break it down. And then after I do the journaling session, the key points, and the reading of A Light in the Shadow, I'm then going to take 30 minutes to read about Dreaming About the Boy Next Door. This will probably lead me up to 10:30, maybe even closer to 11 o'clock. And, you know, after I get done reading this, I'm going to take a break and go eat and stuff. If I get this done, like, I'm not going to get it done, but I might do more than 30 minutes of reading on this. Totally depends on how I'm feeling. But that'll be kind of my morning writing session. And then the afternoon reading session, I'm going to start with a breathe deeply. Again, write down key factors, journal about it. I don't know how much of this I'm going to take away based on what I previously read, but I don't know. It could all change. And then also do that 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I don't know. And then do my journaling session. These the key points for this one, for the key factor points for Breathe Deeply, I'm going to put in this one. This is another one of those cheap books. I believe I have like 12 of these, I think. On the second book, second reading of it, second book of key factors and stuff, that'll be what I'm doing for afternoon after I eat. Then we'll go into the princess swap. That should probably take me up to maybe 1 to 2. And you know, if I still feel like reading, I don't think I'll get to the complex PTSD. I was going to be like, if I still feel like reading, I'll go into the complex PTSD book, but I really highly doubt that. But maybe I will redo my Bible in a year. I'm currently on day 107. That's my current updated spot. But, and like that's the start of a new time period, or breaks, I guess it's time period, but new section. But I might go back and re-listen to the Gospel of John. That's only like 6 or 7 days worth of reading for the whole Gospel of John. I want to reread it just because the Gospels are super important. And actually the last several weeks of several weeks of Sunday readings have been coming from the Gospel of John, and I've been doing not really been doing, but Father Mike Smiths does homilies on the Ascension Presents channel, and I've been taking notes of like each homily, and I'm like, okay, these are key factors and stuff. And I will say the last overall lesson, I guess, I don't know what he calls them, but like the time, like last 5 mass like homilies have been dealing with like the different, like the next thing, and also like I don't know how to describe it, but like it's all been leading up to stuff that I've been listening to in the Bible, and like Father Mike relates the homily to the gospel and stuff like that. All find it really cool. I find it really cool. Love what I'm listening to. I just have to get back into it, and that's honestly why I'm starting each of my writing session, both my reading sessions, with a different religious book. But yeah, so that's kind of the game plan. I'm going to jump into reading a light. What I do is I set up my kitchen timer. I set it for 30 minutes. While I'm doing this, I will listen to a YouTube video. Right now I'm listening to Brielle's writing video. Yeah. That's kind of how things are going. I am not actively listening. It's just kind of background noise. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan. I will see you guys in a little bit, okay? Bye. Hey guys, I just wanted to come on and say that I finished my 30 minutes of reading for A Light in the Shadow. I got to chapter 6. There was an introduction in chapters 6 chapters that I read. I really enjoyed the read. I will probably say that a lot in this video. I really enjoyed the read. It gave me a few things to think about, which I did journal about. I wrote about 600 words in the journaling session. One of the things that I really related to was the quote about when a baby is born, they cry while everyone else is smiling, and whenever someone dies, that person is typically smiling while everyone else is crying. And it's really cool to think about. I really enjoyed just thinking about that fact. And then it also talked about a family that prays together, stays together. And I don't know, I hope that, yes, even though my brothers aren't really religious anymore, I still pray for them. And I pray that my whole family will be able to stay together in heaven and death. And that's just not my immediate family. That's also part of, everyone that we've ever known's family, or at least everyone's that we're related to's family. So, say my oldest cousin on my dad's side, he's the first grandchild, while I am the 40th grandchild. So there's probably at least 40 years difference. Okay, maybe not 40, but somewhere in 40 years difference. I remember first meeting him, when I was, 12 or something, and Mom was like, do you know who this is? And I looked at him and I was like, nope, but he looks like I should know him. And she's like, this is his name, and he's the oldest cousin. And I was like, that's interesting. But I was like, okay, I don't know much about this guy. Still don't know much about him. But I would still pray that he would get to be in heaven with me and my family. Or my essential goal is to have everyone be in heaven. And the reason for that is because, yes, I don't know him personally, but he is important to my uncle. And sometimes, when my uncle is no longer living, but my cousin's uncle is my dad's brother, and him and my dad butted heads all the time. Sometimes they would get into fights that were not good. Not physical fights, they would just argue, and then dad would leave, and it's just tension. But I still want to pray that that uncle will be able to come to heaven, or is in heaven right now, and whenever my dad dies, he'll go to heaven. Because, yes, they may bicker, they may fight, they are still good people, and they are part of the family. And I don't want to see one of my, one of my one of my aunts and uncles not going to heaven while the rest of them do, because then grandma would be hurt. And if grandma's hurt, then she would probably be like, what's the point of going to heaven, kind of thing. So I don't know. I just pray that everyone will get together in heaven. And so I don't know. That's something I think about. And, like, every time I pray a rosary, I dedicate it to at least someone in the family. Or I try to. Sometimes it's people who are in doing abortions and stuff too. But, like, I pray that they will be able to get together in heaven. So that's something I think about. The next book I'm reading is Dreaming About the Boy Next Door. It is currently 10:37, so I'm going to do 30 minutes of reading of this, or however long I feel like. Then I will go downstairs and eat lunch. I was about to say eat supper. I'm eating lunch. But yeah, that's kind of all I gotta say. I will see you guys in a little bit, okay? Bye. Hey guys, so I just got done reading my 30 minutes of reading for Dreaming About the Boy Next Door. Oh my goodness gracious, this book has me so giddy. I absolutely love it. I'm on chapter 16 right now, and I checked how many chapters there are. There are 27 chapters in this book, meaning 27 chapters plus an epilogue plus a point of view from the love interest. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so giddy. I want to continue reading. I love the sweet romance of this factor, and also, like, the slow burn of it all. Well, I don't know if it's slow burn, because, like, there's always been feelings for each other, like, in the book. Well, on my perspective, there's always been love and love for each other. But I love how it's going. This is kind of why I love romance so much, is because, like, there's just, I just find it so romantic, you know. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's almost making me second guess if I want to read my middle grade today. I'm partially like, let me just keep reading this book and finish it, but, I don't know, it all just depends on how the day goes. But I'm gonna head downstairs and go eat something. My computer's doing an update right now. But yeah, I just want to keep reading it. Part of me is like, can I just finish this book today and not, like, do anything else? But I feel like that would be injustice to the other books that I'm reading. But I heavily enjoyed it. Yeah, so I am going to call it quits for right now. Go eat something. Do I know what I'm eating? No idea, but I'm gonna eat it, and I will see you guys later, okay? Bye. Hey guys, so it's almost 2 o'clock. I am done doing my lunchtime routine. Really, it's eating lunch, watching a couple videos, and then praying a rosary, which praying the rosary is new today. Like I said, I've been having struggles with my praying the rosary, so if I get one in earlier, that's great. I also know that praying the rosary also helps invigorate me a little more, so that's good. But so my second half of the reading day is going to be starting off with Breathe Deeply by Alison Ramirez. I will leave a link to all the books that I'm reading down in the description. This one is talking about the joyful mysteries. Alison has 4 books in this, like, rosary invitations series. This just has to be on the joyful mysteries. After I'm planning on, okay. So during the summer, my bills are kind of on the lower side, just because there's not, like, the gas bill's not extremely high. I'm pretty regular on, like, keeping my electric bill under $100, so everything is relatively cheaper in the summer for me, except for gas for car. But if I'm not going anywhere, gas isn't really expensive. But so I'm planning on, like, each month, possibly, like, I have a few things I need to buy around the house, so I'm, like, each month buy a different thing. So, like, I need to buy new green pens for the Grease's story for JJ's story. And I typically like these dark green colors for JJ's story. But a lot of these green pens are running out, so I'm going to buy specifically some green pens to have on hand for it. And then also I'm going to buy some tea mix, just because I like drinking tea with other flavorings, and the canisters around here are expensive. But if I buy them online, they're a little cheaper. But when I do that, I'm planning on buying at least probably one of Allison's books each month. So there's 4 books, so I have 3 more months to go. And after that, maybe buy different books. I'm not sure. During the winter, though, like during winter time, I will have to stop because gas bill for the house heating is expensive. Anywho, sorry, I'm just rambling about random stuff. I was also going to show you, so whenever I do my notebooks for like notes, and I only do this with my Catholic reads, or Christian reads, whatever book you want to call it, what I do is I typically have like my title page, but also goes into the first day of notes. But so I have the title of the book and the author's name up here. I like to have a strip of washi tape here. I don't know, it's just something I like to do. And then each day that I read, I will have like today's the date, and then not journal, but hit key points for each one, like what I read that time. Yeah, I do that, and so far, I've kind of been keeping track of how many not pages, but how many days it takes me to read a book, and it's like 5 to 6. Actually, 7 to 8, depends on how many sections there are. But did I tell you, I'm planning on reading to page 19 on this book, because at page 19, the book goes into, like, breaking down each of the mysteries. And so what I'm thinking about doing is today reading from page 1 to 19, then tomorrow, next time I read it, 19 to 42, 42 to 61, 61 to 82, 82 to 101, and then 101 to 120, and then 120 to the end of the book. So I'm thinking like 7 different reading days. Yeah, so I think that'll be interesting. Anyways, I'm going to get into some reading. Got a video pulled up so I can listen to it. Then I will either jump into the Princess Swap, or I will get back into Sarah Sutton's book. Don't know. We'll see. See you in a little bit. Hey guys, it's about 5:30 right now. I am kind of done with the day. I took like 3 hours off of working on books because one of my alters was very not wanting to write anymore, not wanting to read books, especially since we were more favoring Christian books, and also more heavily wanting to read romance. And the other book we had, Princess Swap, was very much a girly book, and he's like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not gonna keep listening to all the girls in the system fawn over this stuff. So, super fun. It looks like but like the problem is we're a girl and we like girly things. But also some of us don't like girly things, so I don't know. Anywho, I need to do more things to, not appease, but to help him cope with things. Anywho, we did in fact read our 19 pages of Breathe Deeply. There are a few things that we took note of, kind of things. So the first thing that we noted was the difference between happiness and Christian joy. Now, everyone has Christian joy, but obviously they don't. If they're not Christian, they don't believe in it. But everyone has some sort of joy. And so, like, happiness is obviously an emotion that, like, comes and goes. Everyone, like, every day, you're not always happy, you know. But when it comes to joy, like, these things, these core values that root you in who you are, and, like, whenever you're doing these things, they make you happy. They make you who you are, kind of thing. Like, I kind of envision it kind of as, like, you know, in Inside Out, the core memories. Oh, that was the word it was. but the core memories have each of their own island, and that's kind of how it is. That's how I envision it. Like, you have these core values of what makes you you. For me personally, my core values have to deal with my religion, and my writing, and my family. Those are probably the key core values, core memories for me. And like, those are everlasting. Like, they impact me as a person. Like, without those elements, I would not be me. Now, you guys could also probably say, like, another core value is my mental health, but like, I would say that's sort of an element, but I would say that has to go more under my author writing career, because, I don't know, like, that's kind of in every element of each, like, of the Catholic, of the religion, of the Catholic, of the writing, and of the family values, but it's not its own thing. So that's just some things that I'm thinking about. And then, when it comes to the joyful mysteries, I know what they are pretty much. Like, I know it's the Annunciation, the Visitation, the birth of our Lord Jesus, the presentation of Jesus at the temple, and the finding of Jesus in the temple. I know that, and I kind of know what each one represents. But like, it's basically saying like the glorious mystery, the joyful mysteries have to deal with Mary's youth, her pregnancy, and her early motherhood stage, while also talking about Jesus's birth and early childhood for him. And then some themes of the joyful mysteries are innocence, gentleness, and vulnerability. And, whenever I think of the joyful mysteries, I kind of always think of, like, the yes factor, like, you're always saying yes to God and stuff. But there is some other, like, underlining values that's important to remember. So, like, there's peace, there's joy, but there's also suffering. Because, like, I've listened to people, like, I've prayed with others as they do the Bible, as they do the joyful mysteries. And, it's important to note that, like, Mary really was risking her life in each of the stages of Jesus's birth, and even, the suffering that was happening whenever Jesus is in his early childhood, like, let's just take the birth, the Annunciation. So this is Mary saying yes to being a mother of Jesus. And I know that, like, she was unmarried and a virgin, obviously. If anyone found out about this, back in that time, they would have killed her for not having a husband and being what they would have assumed is a floozy, But it was just, like, the suffering, the possibility of being killed for this, but also her having so much joy and peace, saying yes without a second guess. Like, that's, I don't know, it's just so beautiful. But it's important to note, like, no matter what mystery you pray, there is going to be underlying factors of peace, love, and peace, joy, and suffering, and especially with the sorrowful mysteries. But if in the sorrowful mysteries, I would almost envision it kind of like there's joy and peace in the moments of his suffering, Anyways, that's kind of all, like, that's what I took away from the book so far. Yeah. And she also talked a little bit about how she prays the rosary. She has, like, 7 steps of, like, you do this and this and this and this, or, like, how she, I guess, magnifies her prayer time, or really, like, I feel like Allison's more, it's gonna sound weird, but she's more Catholic focused, and I'm more author focused, which is maybe, like, why I'm like, maybe I shouldn't become a sister. But it's important to note, like, I don't know how to put this. I don't know, that's just my opinion too. But it's just how she, like, does much more in depth almost, rather than how I do it. Because, like, I would rather, like, she's more reflective on the prayer, I feel like, while I'm more, like, in the moment trying to listen to God, or at least bring myself to have that, like, moment of silence with God. But I also understand, like, how writing it down is important because God speaks through us through our writing too. So I don't know. Really enjoyed so far what I'm reading. Again, it's kind of hard to say because I'm only 19 pages in it. But yeah, looking good. I also learned about how kind of how the Hail Marys were originally written. Kind of like aspects taken out of Luke, and just how it was all part, how everything kind of combined into one kind of thing. So that was really cool. Anyways, I'm gonna take a little break and we'll kind of get into how the day went, and then we'll talk about what my next video is gonna be, because I do have an idea for what my next video is. So be right back. Hey guys, so I am just closing out today's video. It's a little bit after that clip. I just want to quickly say I am now adding another book to my roster of books to read. I am adding on Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. This is for my male alters in the system to read. I didn't realize how much of them are readers too, but it makes sense. It's just, I'm adding 6 books to my books to read, and I am a little overwhelmed by that fact. But have to remember, I don't have to just read this on Sundays. I can read it throughout the week. I mean, just not read it on Saturdays, and I can read it through the rest of the week. But yeah, I just have to make time to read. Anyways, that's kind of all I gotta say in this video. Thursday, I plan on having a video up, more related to my religious side of my life, where I'm like gaining, so I'm pretty much restoring my Catholic faith, or restoring my faith back after 3 weeks of non-really religious talk, talking about like videos I'm watching, Bible and Year stuff I'm doing, Rosary, Ascension, like talking about the things that I'm trying to do, restoring my faith, and also having a vlog about it. So if that sounds exciting, stick around for Thursday's video. But that's all I gotta say for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember to keep making fantasies come true, one story at a time, okay? And I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye!